my name is Patrick Bruce. I'm a senior here at Iowa State in electrical engineering. If you want to make an impact on the world as an engineer, good communication skills are essential. There are two reasons for this. First, working on a team requires good communication, and most of the things worth doing in life require a team. Second, you can make a fantastic design, but unless you're able to tell people how it works or how you made it, it'll never make its way into the world. In my personal experience, I learned a lot about communication through my co-op this summer with an engineering company. Through my time there, I learned you get a lot less done if you try to do everything yourself. At some of these big companies, there's likely to be people who've worked on the same problems that you're facing for upwards of a decade. So don't be afraid to just set up a meeting with them and ask them questions about the things you're confused about. You're going to end up learning a lot more being able to ask questions in that environment than you could ever find just looking up stuff online. Another time when I learned about the importance of good communication was when my manager asked me to design a new circuit. He gave me a list of specifications and said, I need a circuit that can do these things with this input and this output. So right away I went to work and spent the next 5 weeks designing a circuit that would meet the specifications he had laid out for me. When I finally finished, I set up a meeting with everyone on the design team in order for them to review my design. They ended up really tearing into my design because despite meeting all the specifications that it had listed on the sheet, it didn't actually solve the real-world problems that they were facing and needed that circuit to address. What I should have done was, instead of just checking off specifications as I went, I should have paused and gone and talked to the manufacturers and the design engineers and all the other people who are going to end up utilizing this circuit in order to see what problems they were facing in the real world so I could make a design that addressed those problems. In that circuit design project and in any project, one of the key components to success is maintaining really good documentation. And that's just as true for someone who's a freshman in college as someone who works for a large company. As you go through your college experience, you're going to be continuously applying for research, for jobs, for internships, and for grad school potentially. And at each step along the way, people are going to want to know what you've done and what qualifies you to do that job. Because of this, you're not going to want to rely on your memory to let them know all the great things you've done. You'd be surprised on how quickly you forget why you made certain decisions on projects and what projects you've actually done, even a few weeks after you finish doing them. Personally, I find it best to make sure that I'm continuously documenting what I'm doing while I'm working on projects. And then when I make the final report at the end of the project, I make sure to do that very thoroughly and well and maintain that, so that way I am able to look back and see all the things I did and see what I'm actually qualified to do in the future. Another thing that goes along with documentation is keeping an updated resume and website. It's so much better to be updating these right after you finish each project than once you need it to have to try to rack your brain and try to figure out what exactly did I do for that project? What was my role? It's surprisingly hard to come up with those things afterward. Keeping up with this documentation will allow your designs to have maximum impact on the world. For example, last summer when I was working on that circuit design, I had access to the documentation from the people who made the last version of that circuit. The documentation included a diagram that showed what the circuit was, but it didn't explain how it worked or why they made certain decisions. And this resulted in me spending most of my time going back and relearning stuff that they had likely already figured out. For this reason, having good documentation ensures that the things that you create will have an impact long after you're gone. In conclusion, having good communication skills will make you an indispensable teammate, as well as make sure your projects have the maximal impact that you want to see on the world.